Charles and Dr. Hal. Relate to this.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to each one who is out in I'm going to say, in the cyber world, Dr. Howland. You'll understand when I'm going to go with that in a minute
Okay, all right.
as we get into the episode. So, we just want to do some housekeeping as we prepare. One of the things that we're going to encourage is subscribing. Very important to our production. But that's not the most important part, Mr. Howe. Actually, subscribing is important to the welfare of others. And the content that we put out there, um, and if we're honest, Dr. Howe, the content that we are putting out there, some individuals are paying for.
Yes.
What we give you here, Dr. Howe, in his business, there are those who sign contracts to go through, whether it's 1 week, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 24 weeks, 52 weeks of coaching, counseling, of just gaining a respect for themselves, their families, their spouse, individually. They pay for this stuff, right? They pay. They jump in and say, hey, Mr. Dr. Howe, I need this program, and then in turn, we are providing some tips. Now, you're not getting everything here. You're not going to get you're not going to get the whole steak. What we're giving you is we're putting it on a platter. We are putting a toothpick in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're giving you a appetizer, a sample
Yes.
of what you can get from the whole program to what Dr. House. Now, then on the flip side of that, you may see me walking down the street, and you're going to be like, Jay Tross, listen, I saw the show and you all talked about something, but I want you to go a little bit more in detail. Then I'm going to say, pull out your credit card and I'll give you more of this. So it's not all free, but we're giving you just enough to keep you encouraged. Our goal here is to encourage somebody because somebody is living on the edge. Somebody needs help. Somebody needs encouragement. And we're hoping by what we put out is an encouragement to you that if you really need to go the extra mile, Dr. Howe is the man, the myth, the legend for you to do that. And we've been a little busy. All right, we've been a little busy. Doing some other things, working in some other vineyards, opening doors for others and things of that nature. So at the beginning of this episode tonight, I want Dr. Howe to kind of let us know what he's been doing, and then I'll let you all know what I've been doing and how we're collectively trying to make sure we are keeping relate to this at the top of your brains. So subscribe today. Tell somebody to get onto this relate, because we're live. We're live for somebody somewhere, and we will, these will be saved as well. But somebody right now, we're live for tonight. So Dr. Howe, let us know what you've been doing. I know you've been doing some things, encouraging some folks lately. So tell us what you've been doing lately.
I've been doing a lot of charity work, really. I believe that there are a lot of people out there hurting in relationships, and a lot of people don't know how to get out of the hole that they've dug themselves into. And I've said this before, Hollywood has painted a picture of happily ever after, that you spend your whole life searching for the right one, And once you find that right one, all of your life falls into alignment and falls into place. But what I'm teaching people is the hard work begins after you get married. After you get into that serious relationship, the hard work then begins, because it's ego versus us. And a lot of times, human nature wants to get all will be done.
Right.
You know, I liked you because of X, so I want to make sure I get X. You might like me because of Y, and you want to make sure you get your Y. And at the same time, we have to remember that that is ego talking, that's selfishness talking. And so we have to get to the point where it's not me against you, it is us against the situation, or us against the problem.
Right.
How do you do that? You do that by checking yourself. You do that by making sure that you're not self-driven, or you're not being selfish, you're being selfless, and you're adding value to your partner. So most relationships start at the transactional level, and then they move on to the level where we add value to each other. I know what you want, so now I'm adding value.
Right.
And that's level 2 or stage 2. But most people don't get to stage 3. And stage 3 is where I am providing service for you to improve yourself, or for you to maximize your self improvement. So not only am I adding value to you because I know what you need, I'm being proactive. I know the goals that you want in life, and I'm providing everything in my power possible to make sure that you achieve as much of your goals as possible. And so that is what I teach. Another thing that I teach is the peace method, where we look at processes or systems that you employ in your relationships that can either trigger you or cause you to maintain a healthy relationship. So we identify things that you do. We call them processes, and that's what the P in peace stands for, the processes that you're doing that might need to be tweaked, changed, or improved on. The E stands for the evaluation. How do you evaluate each system to see if it's optimized for efficiency, or is it hindering you from cultivating and maintaining a healthy relationship? The A stands for being your authentic self. Okay. And not only that, accepting the role that you play in the positives, negatives, or the change that you're trying to make in your life. And the C stands for the committing to the hard work ahead to making sure that you can cultivate and maintain that healthy relationship. And the E is the biggest part of all. A lot of people say, I can't wait for X to happen so I can really enjoy myself, or I can't wait for Y to happen so that I can feel happy. So that E stands for enjoying the process, enjoying the journey. How can I be grateful? How can I exhibit gratitude to make sure that I am not waiting for an event that might never happen for me to truly be happy? And so what I have been doing, since that was the original question you asked me, what have I been doing? I have been creating a series of classes that lead individuals from the free content to the introductory content to the advanced content. And the advanced content is the peace method. The peace method has 5 levels, and each level has 10 weeks of activities and learning. And so you're actually talking about a whole year of content. So by the time you're finished the peace content, all 5 levels, to me, it's like getting your black belt in relationships.
Right.
It takes between 3 to 5 years to get a black belt. I'm
Uh,
saying within 1 year, you should get so much training and you will have all of the systems, all of the strategies, and all of the information needed to get your relationship to the next level.
right,
So that is the advanced class. The intermediate class is getting you ready for the peace method.
right, right.
'Cause I can't just tell you, hey, you got to be selfless. You're going to have to do some soul searching. You're going to have to evaluate yourself. You're going to have to understand yourself before you can be authentic with yourself.
Oh, absolutely,
So you,
absolutely.
so you have to find those things that trigger you and understand that triggering might be something that you may not be able to control right then and there. But what you can control is how you react to it. And so I'm showing individuals and teaching individuals, hey, you can look out for triggers because once you identify patterns that you have, you can identify what triggers you. And then when you get triggered, you don't have to stay triggered. You
Mm,
can actually evaluate and figure out what you need to do to get back to normalcy. And then if you have a partner that loves you and wants to add value to you, you can share with them and they can help you regulate yourself. I know we've seen those movies where the jock on the football team, he gets triggered and there's always a girl, Brad, stop, Brad, calm down. He's not worth it.
mhm.
And so she kind of tries to de-escalate the situation. But suppose Brad knew how to de-escalate himself before he got to the point where he did something stupid.
Right, right.
And so in relationships, that's what I'm trying to get to. So I'm creating a series of steps to get people to where they need to get to in a relationship. Now, the reason why I said all that is I have screwed up my relationship so much, but I came out of it. And it took a long time for me to figure out the steps needed to come out of that. And I'm happier now in my relationship than I've ever been. And I've been married for over 32 years. And so some of this is research based, some of this is practical based, and some of this is stuff that I've gained from helping other individuals get to where they need to get to in their relationship.
Hmm. That's awesome. I like what you've been doing, right? I like the I like the fact that how you said it. You said from the free to the next step to the advance, and that's how it should be. Being able to introduce someone to, I'm gonna use the word, introduce them to happiness, introduce them to an openness, introduce them to something better. Sometimes I'm gonna use the analogy of going through doors and um, how the term you can't see, um, how you can say I can't see the sun. I'm just using that example. I can't see the sun. I got some some dreary days ahead, and I can't see at the end of the tunnel. And
Yeah.
it's like a door is closed in between the steps. But if you keep going through those doors and not stop allowing each of don't look back, and that's what we're going to in a moment. I got this thing we're going to do,
Mhm,
but keep looking, kind of keep looking forward.
mhm.
So I like that. Things that I've been doing, man, not as much as you, not as, but I will. You said community service, right? So I feel like I'm gonna throw that in there, right? Doing some community service, doing some community outreach. But I did. I started participating. I'm going outside of my regular day to day. Both of us, we went on to Alan the Great show. Remember, we went on that
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, yeah.
He asked me to co-host with him on this man-to-man podcast thing he's doing, and so I started working with him and doing something, because I'm non-political in every single way. I don't do politics. I don't do that. So I'm trying to help bring a lightness, to his programming, to introduce a different side of that. And so I've been kind of trying to help him to continue doing what he's doing. I mean, he's doing an awesome job at his way. I think he just wanted to kind of collaborate and to kind of bring that thing. And so doing that, I'm trying to, like I said, add that piece. But best believe, Dr. Howe, you're about to come down that street very quickly, because I gave him this idea for an episode that I know is right up your alley.
Okay.
And so a live episode, believe it or not, a live episode.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this, I'll say this, it has to do with food, right?
Food, okay. All right. Food.
So we'll talk offline about it.
Now, I do have a relationship with food too, so yeah.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. So tonight, what we're going to do is I'm going to call it a little game on words.
Okay. All right.
And this game on words has to do with songs.
Oh, okay. So
I'm gonna throw a couple songs out with a couple lyrics from those songs, and I want you to give us, from where you sit, what's the meaning behind it, and as it relates to the everyday life of individuals, right?
Okay.
For those who have been following us, we normally throw a question up there, and then Dr. Howe kind of brings a little bit more out, but we're gonna change it up a little bit to bring it closer to home, right? Because a lot of us have listened to songs in the past, especially like love songs. We've listened to them, and especially when we're young, oh my gosh, that song was something for me, and even in this, even today, we're married, right? But we'll hear a song and it takes us back way before we were married, right? It took us back to high school. It took us, it takes back. So some of these people are going to be like, "Ooh, yes, you're right. That does have, whatever." So this song that I'm bringing, this song here, this is the DeBarges. This is the DeBarges, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the song. Now I want you to think about the song. All This Love. Okay, All This Love. Now I'm gonna just bring a few words from that song. I had some problems and no one can seem to solve them, but you found the answer. You told me to take this chance and learn the ways of love. My baby, and all that it has to offer. In time, you will see that love won't let you down. Dr. Howe, this title, this song, All This Love, what does that mean? I mean, you heard a few of the lyrics here. What does all this love really mean? Can it solve every problem?
Theoretically speaking, that to me is a utopia. That to me symbolizes what Disney has taught us, that love is the answer to everything. And I'm going to say, you can love someone today, but you may not like them, and that not liking them feels like you hate them and you can't stand them. And even though you break up with someone, you may not like them, but that does not mean that your love does not coexist with the hatred of the pain that they cause to you. So when people say there's a thin line between love and hate, yes, that is true, because they are opposite sides of a picture frame, opposite sides of a coin. So what that song is saying is, whatever problem you have, all this love I have for you is going to take care of it. And I say that is a fallacy, because you have to accept the love, first of all. And to accept love, you have to be trusting. And not everyone is as cavalier with trusting as they should be. If you have traumas from before, you might have a guard up. And so all this love is waiting for you, yes. But I may never ever get the ability or get the opportunity to experience that love because of the internal battles and the internal struggles that I have. And that's why you can love someone, but they could be the wrong person for you.
Right,
Because
right.
they're not willing to open up and take in what you have to offer. Secondly, a lot of people say, oh, you can't handle all this love I have for you. But all they bringing is drama and maybe just physical. Are they bringing the authenticity? Or are they bringing what Hollywood said love is? All that eros and all of that sexuality versus are you someone who can have my back? Are you someone I can trust? Are you someone who's going to pour into me? Are you someone who I can share my visions with? Are you someone that will lift me up when I'm down? You know, so that's why I say it's a fallacy. You know, you have to have the right person. That person has to commit to you. And then there are times where all this love is going to die down or seem to die down quite a bit. And that's where the commitment comes in. When someone shinier or more handsome or prettier or, you know, more exciting comes along, are you going to run off with them because you say, I've fallen out of love? Or are you going to say, I committed to this person, and so I'm going to keep my promise to them? Do people know that love has cycles? And sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down. But when it's down, I can't just run for the hills, because at some point in time, all relationships hit a down and all relationships have an up. You know, and so that song emphasizes the greatest lie that has ever been told to us. But I do like that song.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's go to this next one. Now, remember earlier tonight, I talked about the fact of not turning back, right? This song, Too Late to Turn Back, by the Shy Lights. Too late to turn back. The words, my mama told me, she said, son, so this is talking about a boy, son, please beware. There's this thing called love, and it's everywhere. And she told me it can break your heart and put you in misery. And this is what he says. Since I met this little woman, I feel it's happened to me. And I'm telling you, it's too late to turn back now. I believe I'm falling in love. It's too late to turn back now. Dr. Howe, the $1 million question that many ask when they stand at the altar of love, when they decide that they're going to commit, is it really true that it's too late to turn back now?
And once again, that's another lie, because 50% of all marriages, no, they say 25% of all marriages end in divorce in the first 3 years. And then another 50%, and then another 25% of that go down again. And so by the time you get to year 5 to year 7, there's only between 25 to 50% of the people still married. And so it's not too late to turn back, because people don't understand that they're going to be ebbs and flows, that they're going to be ups and downs. But what I do want to say to you is this: you may not be able to fight or determine who you fall in love with, but what you do have control is who you hang around. And psychologists have shown and scientists have shown that if you start to spend more than 1,000 hours of intimate time with someone, whether it's a best friend or whatever, you tend to develop a bond, a stronger bond, especially when it's two people who like each other.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have one person falling for the other, or both people falling for each other. So when your parents told you, hey, I don't want you hanging around certain people, or that girl's not good for you, stop hanging around her, or stop hanging around him, then that is something that you should listen to. Because if you spend too much time with that person, you will get to the point where you're starting to have feelings for that person. And like you said in that song, it is too late to fall, too late to turn back. Now, there's a song called 911 by Wyclef Jean. Someone please dial 911. But the premise of that song is, I've gotten shot down. There's a bullet to my heart, and it's killing me. This love thing is killing me. And my grandmother and my mother told me about this, and I did not listen, and now it's too late. So it's only too late if you determine to spend too much time with someone. When you start to see you get feelings for that person's a little suspect, or that person's not the right person for you, stop spending time with them before it becomes too late. Because yes, it can be too late, and you can make a decision that's going to mess your life up. Marriage can bring out the best in you, or it can bring out the worst in you. So it can be too late.
Wow. Wow. Yes. Too late. Now, there's a song by a group. Thought I had, there we go. Now, some of us may know this just looking at the album itself, the album cover. You already know that's that Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right, okay.
So the words of this song says, be ever wonderful. Stay as you are. Time is right for you tonight. Find your place among the Broadway light. Stay as you are and be ever wonderful. Stay as you are. Dr. Howe, in your conversations, in your coaching, have you found that people want their significant other to stay as they are? And what does that really mean? Do we really want this whole fantasy of be ever wonderful by staying as you are?
Once again, my mother told me, when I told my mother that I was serious about this particular girl and I was thinking about proposing to her and asking her for her hand, my mother told me very carefully, she sat me down and she said, son, think about that one thing or two things that drives you crazy about her. She said, think about that. And she said, once you get married, that's going to be amplified by 10. So what you think is not a big factor now is going to become something that you focus on so much that it can drive you into a divorce. And sure enough, when we got married, I found my wife used to squeeze the toothpaste from the middle of the tube, and I used to squeeze it from the end. And then she didn't like the fact that I splashed around the counter and I didn't wipe it up as I left the bathroom. And we started to bicker about that, and it became bigger and bigger and bigger, and the fights got bigger and bigger and bigger until we came to a compromise. And the compromise was every house that we got had to have two sinks, because we just didn't want to have those fights anymore. And so I don't believe people should stay as they are, because life is about continual growth. Life is about change. I'm not the same person I was when I met my wife. She's not the same person she was when she met me. However, here's the tricky part. There's certain things that attracted me to her that I want to stay the same. But stuff that you found funny and different about that person drives you crazy after you say I do.
Mm.
And so yeah, that smart lad, that smart little zinger that they used to say, that used to laugh and say, "Oh, he's so crazy," or "She's so crazy." Now all of a sudden, why can't you just answer the question? You know, and so it gets a little old, it gets a little stale after a while, because those are immature ways, and you want people to mature. So when you say stay as you are, do you really want me to stay as immature as I was when you met me in our teens?
Right.
And now we're in our 50s? Or do you really want us to mature? And so once again, these songs are designed to make us feel a certain way, but it's not a practical way of living your life. Nobody stays the same way forever.
Nobody stays the same way forever. The Delphonics.
Mm-mm.
The song says, break your promise. The words, if I had a dime for every time I dreamed about you, I tell you no joke. Yes, I'm really broke, baby, without you. And oh no, oh, tell me, what should I do when you tell me that you love me, darling? You said that you love me. Are you going to break your promise to me? And now you're acting so strange. Are you going to break your promise to me, baby? You said that you need me. Are you going to break your promise to me? Now, just in the beginning of the verse of that song, we can see there's some hurt there.
Yeah.
A couple of things he said there. You said that you need me. You acting strange now. And so then he goes on to say, if I saw you with somebody new, I'd be so helpless. I'd be so helpless.
Mm-hmm.
At what point, Dr. Howe, in a relationship, should an individual just allow a person to break that promise and just let them go? Do we wait till we get to the point where he says, if I see you with somebody else, I'm going to be helpless? Wow.
You say wow, I say toxic. That's a toxic relationship there, because he is totally dependent on that girl. Like, you're not supposed to be that dependent on anyone. Where you say I need you. Relationships aren't about needing each other. When you need someone more than they need you, and that is the dynamic of the relationship, it creates a toxic environment, or a potentially toxic environment, because now you start to display your emotions
right
about what is going on, and you're overly sensitive to almost everything that you see. So if you see me talking to a coworker, who's that person you're talking to? You know, oh, that's my cousin. Oh, so now everybody's your cousin. And now you start to create an environment where the relationship is no longer one built on trust, but built on accusations. And people start to say stuff like, well, if you think I'm cheating, I might as well cheat. And so at the end of the day, that type of relationship, it sounds good in the song. But, you know, and people even say that. You hear women say, I want you to need me. And men say, you know, I want you to want me. And I want you to need me. But that's toxic. tell me how better it is where two people don't need each other, but they stay with each other because they want to, not because they need to. So if I'm staying with you because I don't have any place to stay, if I'm staying with you because you have the money and I don't, if I'm staying with you because I feel lost without you, all those are potential toxic relationships because it's based on a dependency. One person is at a higher level than the other. So once again, in songs, it sounds good, but if you start to break them songs down, you start to see toxicity running all through those things, man. And I love the Delphonics too. Oh, I can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Nope. Still can't hear you. Just make sure we edit this part later. Can you hear me? Oh, I still can't hear you. So you down there fiddling? I can't. Oh.
Test 1, 2.
Yes, you back on. Okay,
Uh,
hold on. Let's just say this. We will continue recording from here on.
well, before we do that, let's. I mean, it says I'm on test 1, 2.
Yeah, you good.
Yeah. Do you hear me really clear?
Yes, very, very clear.
Yeah, but I can't hear you through here, which means the speaker's not on. Okay, so all right, so we'll continue recording. For those who may be watching live right now, we apologize, but we're gonna rock with it, whatever it may be. I did something I probably shouldn't have, and it took me from one thing to another. So you there?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Now I'm back on. Good.
All right, cool.
Yeah, no. From here, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But yeah, so but no, I was just saying you're exactly right from what you said. That's what I'm gonna leave that at there. So we go from the Delphonics, and you're absolutely right? Toxic is what you said. Very toxic. At that point, and when you allow it to get to that point where you are so dependent on that individual, crazy stuff begins to happen.
And it's even bad. It's even worse than that when both people are codependent on each other.
Yeah.
But when one person is dependent on the other, it looks like a little puppy dog thing until it looks like a stalker type thing.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's cute until it's not.
Until it's not. Right. Okay. Got a couple more for you. This one, you ever heard of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes?
Okay.
The song is The Love I Lost. And
all these sad songs, man.
Well, they may be sad to somebody, but they're educational to somebody else.
Okay.
If I give you the Roses song, if I give you the songs that just cheer you up, you're not gonna learn nothing from it.
I'm still gonna find something wrong with them though.
Now listen to this one.
Okay.
Now, the love I lost was a sweet love. The love I lost was a complete love. The love I lost, I will never, no, never love again.
That's sad. You know what that said? You're supposed to live and learn. If you get to the point where you love and lost and you refuse to learn and move forward, that means you just stuck in the past and living in the past on someone who doesn't want you back. Why would you want to put that much energy into remembering a relationship of someone that has or wants nothing to do with you? You know, so that's another toxic situation right there, where a person is constantly living in the past and not living in the present and planning for their future, to the point that you're not going to try and figure out what you did wrong, the role you played in the breakup of the relationship, so you can fix it and find someone new. You just going to waddle in your little juices of depression until you die. That is toxicity to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for someone listening to that, some woman would be like, "Oh yeah, you know, maybe I did treat him bad. I might want to get back to him, or you know, or he should have known better. He should have known I was, you know, he should have known that he was too clingy, or whatever. You know, there's two sides to it.
Oh yeah.
But there's a reason why you got dumped.
Yeah.
And it may not be 100% your reason, but you played a role, not one way or the other.
Okay. I can appreciate that.
And I know that's painful for someone to hear me say that you played a role. Yeah. It may not have been an active role, but it may have been a passive role. And passive in meaning you let it get to that point. You saw the signs, but you kept hoping that it would change.
Right.
And the ultimate of insanity is seeing the same thing and doing the same thing and expecting different results. If you don't change, circumstances won't change.
Absolutely. All right. Classic.
Another sad song. Here we go.
This is a classic though. Now this is gonna take a different turn for the worse.
Oh wow.
All right, here we go. Everybody know who he is. But let's show him right now.
How did I knew that one was coming.
Michael Jackson. And the song is "The Girl Is Mine." Every night she walks right in my dreams. Since I met her from the start, I'm so proud I am the only one who is special in her heart. The girl is mine. The doggone girl is mine. I know she's mine because the doggone girl is mine. And I'm going to fast forward. Because she's mine, the doggone girl is mine. Don't waste your time. So he's talking to somebody, right?
Yeah.
Don't waste your time because the doggone girl is mine. Then he goes on to say this: I love you more than he. So now he's talking to the doggone girl. So come and go with me. Then he goes back and says, but we both cannot have her. So it's one or the other. And one day you'll discover that she's my girl forever and ever. Dr. Howe.
Toxic again.
The $2 million question is, how do you know someone is really yours?
You know what? I learned this when I was but a child. If you love them, let them go. And if they come back, then they were meant to be.
Now I want you to pause there.
I definitely will pause there, because if you go, I ain't want you back.
I'm gonna pull one of your terms, what
Okay.
you just said earlier. If that is not the most Hollywood-ish story, if they're really meant to be, you just let them go. And if they come back, that is who you belong with. I just watched a movie today. I love this season, the holiday season. I love to watch holiday movies.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular movie, the girl went back home, to celebrate the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
and she ran up against her boyfriend from many moons ago, and they grew up together, and they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and they separated and went their own ways. And so I'm sure at some point along the way, he said, if she's mine, she gonna come back. And so she came back, and they started talking.
And she
And
probably had a boyfriend too, right?
she didn't have she didn't have a
Oh, okay.
boyfriend. She didn't have a boyfriend. But there's always a love interest that's always showing up in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But she realized that the same reason why she left him then is the same reason why she was gonna have to leave him again.
I thought you said it was a holiday movie. It was a sad movie. It's a sad movie, man. There ain't nothing holiday about that.
So what I'm saying is it's not all roses. It's not. And that term, if she's really yours, if she's really the one, that she will come back. Do not believe the hype. They come back, and the same reason why y'all broke up is the same reason you're gonna break up again. So don't believe it.
Not only that, I'll even add some more fuel to that fire. A lot of times they come back because they realize that the person they ran off with did not treat them any better. So you are the second best. You're the safer option because they didn't get what they wanted, or they got their tail hurt. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, if you can't make your mind up as to which one of us you want, I'll make your mind up for you. You have to have boundaries. You have to have standards. You have to have non-negotiables. You have to have beliefs and values that you stick to. Mm-hmm. And if you let people violate those boundaries, non-negotiables, and those beliefs that you stand for, they run the risk of continually violating those boundaries and standards. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not going to fight for you. Because if you want me, you want me. If you don't, you don't. I don't want to fight for someone who doesn't want me at all, because then it creates a dynamic where you think you have one up on me. Right. But a lot of women believe, I want him to fight for me. Why? Life is hard enough to fight through. Why you have to add one more thing for me to fight? Let's just decide we're going to be together and fight to stay together. But if you throw someone else in it and it becomes a triangle now, you add in a harder aspect to life that's not necessary. So if you want him, go get him. But what happens a lot is people sit there waiting like a little puppy for the person to come back, male or female. When in actuality, we should find out why they left us, improve on those areas, and become a better person and attract a better person. Mm. No, we sit there waiting for that person to come back to us. And like the story that the movie that you watched today, he still had the same problems that he had back in high school or back when they were young, and she left him all over again. Mm. So life is not stagnant. Life is dynamic. And if they left you before, if you don't change, they'll leave you again.
Leave you again. Wow. So as we begin to wrap up this show, several things that we can take away from this. Mm-hmm. One of the things is they're all records. Mm-hmm. You look at the album covers and mm-hmm. it all shows you it's love. It's love. And the title of this song says, I've never found a girl. So this cover, the way that you see it there. But then when you listen, you go through a few of the songs, it says, bring it on home to me. Never give you up. Girl, I love you. I need you, woman. I'll take her. Slip away. I'm just a kind old fool. Sweet things you do.
That's some toxic stuff right there. That is a toxic album.
And so we, especially growing up in times we grew up, and I chose albums especially because both of us grew up on albums for the most part. Some 8 tracks, but mostly the albums. You know,
I didn't grow up in no 8-track. Like, you're looking at me talking about I grew up in no 8-track. I'm definitely post 8-track.
Well, I had some 8 tracks in my grandma's house, but we grew up on these records, and our parents lived these records. We grew up on them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know the background to any of these stories. We listen to the songs and we can hear the hurt. I mean, this one, I didn't choose any song from this one, but we know how this ended. Ike and Tina. We know where that, and you know, we talked about, I think that in a different episode about domestic abuse and things of that nature. I mean, the title of this song says "Feel Good." You know what I mean? But we know where this went. But it's music, and if you really want to know who you're with, just listen to them. Not the music, but listen to that person that's sitting next to you. Let them tell you and express how they feel. Let them get to a point where they are okay with being okay or not being okay. Know when time is not on your side, if you will. Sometimes you have to let go in order to grow. I want to tag that line. Let go in order to grow. But Dr. Howe said it best when we started out the show when he said, it's a Hollywood lie. I want to encourage somebody today to create your own album. Write your own song. As Mr. Howe, I purposely chose the songs I said, and he caught on to it. He said, it's the saddest songs. They're so sad. So we want to encourage somebody to create a song that's beautiful. A song that you can go back and look at, and when you feel discouraged about something in your life or your relationship, and play that song. Because if a song from the Delphonics or the Stylistics or Ike and Tina or Eddie Floyd or Stevie Wonder encourages you and the songs are sad, write a song for yourself. Encourage yourself.
Yeah.
Through your song. I'm gonna give you the last word, Dr. Howe.
Hey, I had a lot of stuff to say, but it just went out of my head. You know, you wax so eloquently right there. I wanted to say that Hollywood has lied to us, and we have to understand that songs are designed to evoke a certain emotion, and a lot of those emotions are not healthy. And so if you listen to sad breakup music all day long, you go in the direction in which your head is pointing. So if you focus on sad stuff, that's all you're going to see in your relationships. You got to focus on the happy stuff. You got to focus on things to be grateful for. And so relationships are about the fights and about the struggles and about communication. You have to listen to what your partner says and believe them. But you also have to listen to what they don't say. A lot of times people are scared to say what's on their real mind and what's really in their heart. And if you listen to what they don't say and read in between the lines, you will see what they're struggling with. And you can decide whether or not you're up for that struggle or not. But as I said at the beginning of this show, if you're not sure about someone, don't put in that much time with them, because if you spend over 1,000 hours with someone, one or both of y'all are going to start to get feelings for each other. And so you have to be actively aware of the people that you're willing to spend time with. Because when those feelings pop up, and you might be friends today, and one night you might have a dream and wake up and you feel, man, I think I love this person. And then it's too late. You've put in too much time, and now, as the song that you said, I've gone too far to turn back now. You know, and you start to get that feeling, but that's just a feeling. You can turn back, you can break up, you can walk away. But before you get to the point where you invest that much time that when you walk away, you feel like your heart's being ripped out your chest, ask yourself, is this a person who has my back? Is this a person I want to spend my life with? Is this a person who I want to commit to? Is that person willing to commit to me? Am I willing to fight and struggle with this person through the ups and downs of a relationship cycle? And if you answer no to any of those, reevaluate your relationship before moving forward.
Wow. Listen, we unpackaged some stuff tonight. This is that free portion, right? Then becomes the introduction into and the opening of this package from these songs. It's an icebreaker to somebody's life. And so we encourage you, if you need somebody to talk to, just put in the chat, Dr. Howell, I need to talk to you. He's available.
Or Dr. Howell, where can I find your courses?
Or Dr. Howell, where can I find your courses?
Yeah, you reach out. We'll send you the information.
We'll send you the information. So as we say every time at the end of these shows, the question is, based off tonight's show and the music that we've read, can any one of you relate to this? Hey, listen, we'll see you next time on another episode of Relate to This with Dr. Howell and Jay Tross. We'll see you soon.
Relate to this.